And we get you some more breaking news this morning. U.S. International Development Finance Corporation has announced it will work with Indian manufacturer Biological E Limited to finance increased capacity to support Biological E's effort to produce at least 1 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines by the end of 2022. The Biden-Harris administration has highlighted this announcement during the Quad Summit, at which the leaders from United States, Australia, India and Japan announced a landmark partnership to further accelerate the end of COVID-19 pandemic. Also joining me on the broadcast this morning is our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, the Quad is all set to harness India's capability for the massive vaccine diplomacy project. Tell us more.
Well, this is evidence of the fact, Katrine, that India is the pharmacy of the world. And not just in terms of manufacturing, but in terms of the kind of faith and trust the world has in our capacity, both scientific capacity to create vaccines and then manufacture them on a mass scale to deliver them with certain deadlines. We have seen how, or the world has seen actually how India has was not only quick to get a vaccine as a scientific community on it the moment this pandemic is spread, but also that we delivered it on deadline, and within 3 days, 72 hours of launching our own vaccination program, India started sharing the same vaccines with the rest of the world also, and now the number stands at about 150 plus, where we have shared in terms of our aid about 100 million doses and about 500 million more in terms of commercial exchanges. So I think that delivery and this development has really brought in that much more faith in our capacity, and that's why when the leaders of Quad discussed it yesterday, India was singled out in praise for the manner in which we have conducted ourselves all through the pandemic, and the philosophy of sharing and treating the world as a family has really earned the trust and faith and respect. I think this development and this announcement by the US aid is a reflection of that faith, and I believe our scientific community and manufacturers and, of course, the government of India are up to the task of delivering what the world expects.
Absolutely, because now the United States will provide financial assistance to support Indian drug maker Biological E's effort to produce at least 1 billion doses of COVID-19. The number that we're talking about merely speaks of the kind of effort that the United States also, Abhishek, is willing to put, because remember, this is the first such Quad meeting with the new, Biden-Harris administration as well.
Well, yes, this was the first Quad meeting of the heads of government, and it's good that the Biden administration has prioritized it in its initial few months. What is important is that the Quad essentially is taken shape as a security grouping, but then the broad basing of the agenda, including climate change, which is close to President Joe Biden of the United States, and in the present context, focusing on dealing with the COVID pandemic in a coordinated manner, getting the vaccines in the Indo-Pacific nations, because essentially it's an Indo-Pacific grouping, and then, of course, the larger issue of making sure that all the democracies come together to make sure that the rule of law-based order and international rules are followed, and the sea lanes are free and open. So, I mean, all that agenda. But what is important is that since it was the first meeting, there was certain element of broad basing of agenda to include COVID pandemic situation and climate change. And this immediate development is in many ways connected with that prioritizing that Quad leaders did yesterday.
Absolutely. During the meet, all the 4 leaders have vowed to work unitedly on manufacturing and distributing COVID-19 vaccines, certainly being seen as an effort to counter China's expanding vaccine diplomacy as well in that sense. We leave it at that, Abhishek. Thank you for sharing that all-important perspective.